Transfer pricing session we have already completed. I think you have get an idea about how to determine the optimal transfer pricing range. While we are doing few illustration, you will able to understand how to determine optimal transfer pricing range. If you look at about the past papers, most of the scenario they have checked about the divisional performance evaluation, but in this time we'll assume there's high probability that they are checking transfer pricing. Okay. Shall we move to page number 14? We'll clarify it and go. Page number 14. Negotiating a transfer price. Okay. A transfer price based on opportunity cost is often difficult to identify for lack of suitable information about cost and revenues of individual divisions. In this case, it is likely that transfer prices will be set by means of negotiations. Most of the time we have to negotiate the transfer price. Sometimes it is not practical to determine the opportunity cost. Under that situation, we have to deal with the supplying division should negotiate with the receiving division to determine suitable or appropriate transfer price. Part A. A negotiated price might be based on market value but with some reductions to allow for the internal nature of the transaction, which saves external selling and distribution cost. Okay, that's like this. Assume if there's a perfect market, when you are going to set the transfer price, as I have explained earlier, when you determine the minimum transfer price, you can determine minimum transfer price, minimum TP. You can use market price less any cost saving from internal transfers. Okay. You can expand this minimum transfer price in equation market price. You can say marginal cost plus opportunity cost minus cost saving from internal transfers. That is minimum. Maximum, anyway, it is very easy. Maximum transfer price should be external supplier price. Then you can determine the optimal transfer pricing range. මුලින්ම අපි දාගත්ත page අපි මතක හැටියට පටන් ගනිද්දී අපි පොඩි mistake එකක් කරා. එතන හදා ගන්න ඕනි. Page number 6 එකේ. Maximum transfer pricing should be only external supplier price in between optimal transfer price. Okay. Any price in between minimum and maximum range is optimal. Clear? That is the meaning when we are going to determine the optimum transfer price. Come back to page number 14. Where one division receives near finished goods from another, a negotiated price might be based on market value of end product minus an amount finishing work in the receiving division. Okay, those are there. The optimal transfer price. The ideal transfer price should be reflect at the opportunity cost of sale of the supplying division and the opportunity cost to the buying division. Unfortunately, full information of opportunity cost may not be easily obtainable in practice. As a perfect external market exists, a unit variable cost and unit selling prices are constant. The opportunity cost of transfer will be external market price or external market price less saving in selling cost. සරලවම කිව්වොත් minimum transfer price එක වෙන්නේ perfect market condition එකක external selling price එකෙන් අඩු කරන්න ඕනි external market එකට යන selling expenses and distribution cost or packaging cost. Clear? Therefore, when we are going to set the minimum transfer price, if there's no demand or imperfect demand, the minimum transfer price should be, if there's no demand, marginal cost. Maximum is external supply price. In between any price you can determine in order to eliminate suboptimal decision. Okay. Dual rate transfer pricing also you can adopt in order to eliminate suboptimal decision. That means supplying division will charge market price, receiving division will record at marginal cost. Clear? Okay. With having that idea, next section I will move to assessing divisional performance. We are going to assess the third section. First part we have identified the responsibility center. Second part we have determined transfer prices. Now we are going to evaluate performance of divisional managers. Clear? Okay. සාමාන්‍ය දැන් මේ පන්තියේ කවුරුත් නැති වෙනකොට නිකන් පොඩක් අර බෝරින් ටයිප් එකකින් කාට තේරුණාද නැද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් තේරුණාද නැද්ද කියලා ඉවරලා මූණ දිහා බලපුවාම සාමාන්‍ය මේ වෙලාවෙද්දි එක්කෙනෙක් දෙන්නේ කෙල පෙර පෙර නිදා ගන්නවා. දැන් එහෙම කවුරුත් බලන් ඉදියක් නෙමෙයි මල්ලි විතරයි ඉන්නේ මේ රෙකෝඩ් කරන එක. නැත්නම් හොයාගන්න තිබ්බා. හරි. මොනවා වුණත් ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් මේ අපි ගණන් හදපු එකේ ප්‍රශ්න එහෙම තියෙනවා නම් අපි WhatsApp group එක හරහා communicate කරමු. මම contact number එක මම මෙතන දාන්නම්. group එකට නැති කට්ටිය මම එකතු කරනවා group එකට. ඒතකොට අපේ communication කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay. Now I am moving to assessing divisional performance into page number 15. Assessing divisional performance. Okay. Divisional performance evaluation. Divisional performance evaluation. Divisional performance evaluation. Okay. Under divisional performance evaluation, as you can remember, due to decentralization and divisionalization and decentralization, we have split business operation into divisions. Okay. Assume this is division A, this is division B. I need to assess the performance of each division. Okay. Whether they are profitable, whether they are operating effectively, efficiently, I need to evaluate it. There are methods to discuss under the given scenario when we are going to evaluate divisional performance. First method we are going to discuss about return on capital employed. You can call it ROI, return on investment. There's another method we are going to discuss, residual income. Residual income. Third method, we are going to discuss about economic value added, EVA, economic value added. Okay. Those measures we are going to use to evaluate divisional performance. Okay. Under that first one, we will look at return on investment or return on capital employed. Okay, we'll write it down. First measurement, we are going to evaluation criteria, we are going to evaluate using ROI. Okay, return on investment. Return on investment. Return on investment. Okay. When we are going to calculate return on investment, there are two methods to calculate return on investment: gross measure and net measure. Okay, return on investment, ROI. Generally, we'll calculate ROI equal net profit divided by capital employed into 100%. Return on investment. Accounting profit will take to calculate return on investment. Okay. When we are going to calculate return on investment, the calculation of capital employed. There are two methods. First method is net asset employed, net capital employed. Okay. In capital employed, we will determine capital employed equal investment in non-current assets. Investment in non-current assets plus investment in non-current asset plus net working capital this is called capital employed. Capital employed කියලා කියන්නේ investment in non-current asset plus net working capital we have invested. Okay, there are two measures. Capital employed. When we are going to calculate ROI, we can use net measure and gross measure. In the net measure, we will take net book value, net asset value of non-current assets. Okay, after deducting depreciation, net assets employed. We'll take the net assets employed. Here we will take gross asset employed. Gross assets employed. Gross assets employed. Okay. In net asset employed, the component of net asset, it include net book value. Net book value of non-current assets. Non-current assets plus net book value of non-current assets plus you have to add net working capital requirement. Net working capital requirement. Add net working capital. Working capital. Net working capital. Okay. Net book value of non-current assets plus net working capital. In gross measure, then here method net book value එක ගන්න කොහොමද? Cost minus accumulated depreciation. Here we'll take gross value of non-current asset excluding depreciation. Gross value of non-current assets, current assets plus gross value of non-current assets plus net working capital. Net working capital. Okay. These are the two measures when we are going to calculate ROI, net measure and gross measure. This is the net measure based for the capital employed. Capital employed. We can say this is net capital employed. Here we can say gross capital employed. Gross capital employed. Gross capital employed. Net capital employed and gross capital employed. Those are the two measures. Okay. Now we will do an illustration. I think there is an illustration in page number 16. ROI. Okay. Look at. A new company has non-current asset of 460 million, which will be depreciated to nil on a straight line basis over 10 years. Okay. Net current asset will be consistently be 75 million. Okay, that means net current asset means net working capital, net current asset. Net current asset will be 75 million and annual profit consistently 30 million. ROI measured in return on net asset. Okay, we'll see it. This net working capital you can say net current asset කියලා කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. Net current assets. Net current asset or net working capital කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Current asset minus current liability. Clear? That means net working capital. Also you can say net current asset. Net current asset කියලා කියන්නේ current asset minus current liability. Net current assets. Okay. Now this illustration will use gross measure and net measure. It says about calculate company ROI in year 2 and year 6. First I will take net measure. Net measure. Year 2 and year 6. Year 2. Cost of non-current asset. How much? 460 million. 460 million. Depreciation over 10 years time in a straight line basis. After 2 years time, depreciation will be 46 into 2. Therefore, I will deduct accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation. How much? 460 million will be divided into 10 into 2 years. Then it will be how much? 92 million. 92 million. 92 million. What is the value? It should be 368 million is the net book value of non-current asset. Net book value of non-current assets. Okay. Then I will add what? I need to add net current asset, that net working capital, net current assets. Each year it will be, it says 75 million, 75 million, 75 million. Now I will take net capital employed. Net capital employed 368 plus 75 443 million. 443 million is the net capital employed. Annual profit is given 30 million each year. Annual profit 30 million. Then ROI kiyak වේද? Annual profit divided by net capital employed into 100. Year 2 ROI. How to calculate it? Annual profit divide by net capital employed into 100. Okay, 30 million divide by 443 into 100. What is the ratio? 30 divided by 443. 6.78%. 6.78%. That is year 2. දෙවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ වාගේ ROI එක ඔය ගන්න වෙනවා. 6.78. Now we will see what will happen if it is year 6. Year 6 එකේ කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? net measure එක අපි තාම යන්නේ. Cost of non-current asset. Cost of non-current asset. $460 million. Less accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation is 460 divide by 10. අවුරුදු 10ක් depreciate කරන්නේ. After 6 years time, depreciation should be 276 million. Net book value of non-current assets should be 184 million. Net book value. Net book value of non-current asset 184. Then you have to add net current assets 75 million. Total 259 million. Net capital employed හරිද? net profit annual profit annual profit 30 million. Then ROI annual profit 30 million divide by net capital employed 259 into 100. It is 11.58 11.58. Okay. Therefore, ROI in second year is 6.78. ROI in sixth year it is 11.58. හැබැයි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනව නේද? Annual profit has not changed. Annual profit has not changed. But ROI has improved. What is the reason? The reason is the net capital, since you are taking net capital employed, when age is going, the net book value of non-current asset will fall. When it falls, can asset get aged, earning will improve. හැබැයි ඇත්තට මේක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. asset පරණ වෙනකොට earnings අඩු වෙනවා හරි විදියට නම්. හැබැයි මෙතන වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඒක අනිත් පැත්ත. හැබැයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේක තමයි use කරන්නේ performance evaluate කරන්න. එතකොට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් when asset get old, earning will be artificially increased. The reason annual profit has not changed, but due to fallen of net capital employed, your ROI has gone up. Okay. Now if we follow the gross measure, what will happen? Gross measure, there is no change to the gross investment in non-current assets. We are not considering depreciation. Okay. If we follow net basis, gross basis, cost of non-current assets equal 460 million. 60 million. Each year you have a working capital requirement, net current assets, how much? 75 million. You will take the gross value, you are not deducting any depreciation. Therefore, gross capital employed 535 million. Gross capital employed 535 million. Okay. Annual profit each year, annual profit 30 million. Annual profit 30 million. Okay. Now easily we can calculate year 2 ROI equal 30 million divided by gross capital employed 535 million into 100. 5.6%. Even it is in 6th year, year 6th. ROI 30 million divided by 535 million into 100. 5.6%. It won't change. Same figure will be received. Okay, same figure will be received. Therefore, anyway it is not suitable. We can't expect same return over the each year, each period. Okay, now you have identified the difference between net measure usage of ROI computation and gross measure utilization for ROI computation. Clear? තේරුණාද? හරි. ROI තියනකොට අපිට ප්‍රශ්න එන්න පුළුවන්. When we are making ROI based decision making, there are some suboptimal decision as well. I'll take like that. I'll take an example. මම මේක මකනවා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් division if there's a divisional ROI set, assume there are two division. Division A ROI, return on investment, their present ROI is 25%. Division B, their ROI 30%. There are two divisions. The company ROI, company, overall company, they expect return on investment 20%. Okay, 20%. Now, assume division A receive a contract which gives 23% ROI, return on investment ROI. Will they accept it? Will they accept it? No. Because if they accept 23%, their overall ROI will fall. Therefore, they will reject. Division B received a special contract for 28%. But their current divisional ROI 30%. Also, they also reject this contract. Because they will only undertake any project or any contract if its ROI is greater than current divisional ROI. ඒ කියන්නේ division A project එකක් accept කරන්න යාගේ ROI 125 හෝ ඊට වඩා වැඩි වුණොත් විතරයි. division B එක accept කරන්නේ ඕනම contract එකක් ඕනම වැඩක් 130ට හෝ ඊට වඩා ලැබුණොත් විතරයි. Clear? They won't accept lower than that because ultimately overall ROI might fall. But look at the company ROI is 20%. If both contract accepted, overall company ROI might increase. Due to this suboptimal decision, two profitable projects might have been neglected. Okay, that is one weakness in ROI method. Because divisional managers only accept any project if the ROI is greater than their divisional ROI. Okay, we'll see there's an example in page number 17. Page number 17. Example, we'll read. At the end of 2013, Division S, part of a group, had a book value of non-current asset book value 300 million and net current asset of 40 million. Net profit before tax was 64 million. Okay, net profit before tax for 64. Non-current asset of division S consists of 5 separate items each costing 60 million. Hari. එතකොට එයාගේ division එකේ non-current asset වල cost එක තියෙන book value එක තියෙන million 300ක්. ඒ 300 හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ machine 5කින්, item 5කින්. එකක cost එක million 60යි. 60 into 5 300 million. Which are depreciated nil over 5 year on straight line basis. ඒ කියන්නේ අවුරුදු 5 ඇතුලේ මේවා depreciate වෙලා යනවා. For each of the past years, on 31st December, it has bought a replacement for the asset that has just been withdrawn, and it proposes to continue this policy because of technological advances. The asset manufacturer has been able to keep their prices constant over the time. The group cost of capital is 15%. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ arrangement එකක්. They will purchase a new machine once one machine being fully depreciated, replacement basis. There are 5 machines. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The first machine, assume one machine will be added once one machine being fully depreciated. Their cost 60 million each, 60. Total 300. What should be the annual depreciation? Annual depreciation 5 years divide by 60 divide by 5, 12. එක machine එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ ළඟදීම purchase කරපු එකක් machine set එකේ. හරිද? එක machine එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් අවුරුද්දක් පරණ. There's another machine 2 years old, another machine 3 years old, another machine 4 years old. If it reach to 5th year, it will be dismantled and take the new machinery. That is the arrangement. Depreciation, accumulated depreciation. There's a one machine recently purchased. There will be one machine 1 year old. 60 divided by 5 into 1, 12 million is the depreciation. There is another one machine 2 years old, 24 million. This another one machine 3 years depreciation, 36 million. This another machine 4 years aged, 48 million. Then බැලුවොත් මේවල net book value, net book value, one machine will be 60 million, this machine will be 48 million, here 36 million, here 24 million, here 12 million. Clear? You got it. Now next year this machine will be fully depreciated, this will be replaced, another machine will be added, this machine become 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, 4 year old. Likewise it will fall like that. Okay, that is the arrangement. Then what it says, required, assuming that except where otherwise stated there are no changes in the above data, deal with the following separate situation. Division S has the opportunity of an investment costing 60 million and yielding an annual profit of 10 million. Calculate its new ROI if the investment were undertaken. State whether the manager of division S would recommend that the investment to be undertaken. හරි. අපි බලමු දැනට මෙයාගේ ROI එක කීයද කියලා. First we'll look at gross investment. This is accumulated depreciation. This is the net book value. I will directly take the net book value. 60, 48, 36, 24, 12. Altogether 72, 120, 180 million. Net book value 180 million. Okay. Current ROI of the division is how much? Current ROI. Currently, net profit before tax was 64 million. Net profit before tax 64 million. Okay. Net current asset look at net current asset value it says 40 million. 40 million is the net current assets. Shall we calculate ROI, present ROI? Present ROI. Net profit divided by net asset, net book value of non-current, net book value of non-current assets plus net current asset into 100%. Net profit 64 million. Net book value of non-current asset 180 million. Net current asset 40 million. $29.1. This is present ROI. Present ROI 29.1. Any investment above 29.1 he will accept. Okay. Part A. Look at part A. There's a new investment opportunity. It will give how much? It will give 10 million as net profit if you invested 60 million. Okay. Now we look at new ROI. Okay. New profit. Currently 64 million. If you undertake this new investment, you can earn 10 million. Total 74 million. Net capital employed. Capital employed. Currently how much? Currently net capital employed this much, 180 plus 40, 220 million. Million desi visai. Current investment 220 million plus new investment value 60 million. Total 280 million. 280 million. Now calculate new ROI. New ROI. 74 million divided by 280 million into 100. Calculate new ROI is how much? $26.4 million. Sorry, 26.4%. What has happened? Previously it is 29.1. If you undertake the new investment, it will fall up to 26.4%. What is the reason? If you look at the new investment, 60 million, but it gives only new profit only 10%, 10 million. Then ROI of the project 10 million divided by 60 million into 100, 16.67. The new project ROI is 16.67, but divisional ROI 29.1. 1. If you undertake this low ROI investment, divisional ROI will fall. Okay, we'll write it down. Point number 2, state whether the manager of division S would recommend that the investment be undertaken. Okay, manager of division, write it down. Manager of division S. 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 Reject to accept. Reject to accept the new investment or new project. New investment. If it accept the new project, if it accept the new project, if it accept the new project, new investment, the divisional ROI, the divisional ROI, the divisional ROI will fall from 29.1 to 29.1 to 26.4. But as a company perspective, as an overall company perspective, this is a good investment. This is a good investment. This is a good investment which gives 16.67% 16.67% ROI 16.67% ROI, which is above the company cost of capital of 15%, which is above the company cost of capital of 15%. Okay, that is part A, number 2. Look at part B. Division S has the opportunity of selling at a price equal to its written down book value of 24 million, an asset that currently earns 3.9 million per annum. A කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේක. Company division S can sell net book value equal to 24 million. That means this one. They will sell this asset which currently generate 3.9 million as profit. 3.9 million as a profit. Is it suitable? Now we have to calculate. If is currently we have the ROI of 29.1%, present ROI. If we sell this machinery, our net book value will fall. Total net book value of machinery 180 million. Net book value of sold machine 24 million. Then this become 106 million. Then plus net current asset. Net current asset 40 million, it won't change. 140. We'll take the total 196 million. 196 million. What is this? This 196 million is the new net capital employed after sale of machinery. Net capital employed. Net capital employed. Net capital employed. Clear? What is the new profit? Original profit. Was 64 million. Less loss of profit due to disposal. Loss of profit. දැන් මේ මැෂින් එක විකුණපුවාම ඒ මැෂින් එක ජෙනරේට් කරපු 3.9 million profit එක අපිට නැති වෙනවා. 3.9 million. We'll remove it. Then net profit will fall up to 60.1 million. 60.1 million වෙනකන් අඩු වෙනවා. 60.1. Okay. Now we will calculate ROI. ROI. Net profit 60.1 million. New net capital employed 196 million into 100. It becomes 30.67. 30.67%. What is your recommendation? Previously it was previous ROI. $29.1. New ROI 30.67. What has happened? Your divisional ROI has improved due to disposal of this machinery. Therefore, you can write down the conclusion. Manager of division S will accept to dispose the machinery worth of 24 million. 24 million. It can be recommended. You can recommend it. Okay. That is all about return on investment. The main weakness of ROI is the divisional managers may not accept. Okay. They won't accept any investment if it is lower than their divisional ROI. Divisional ROI එකට අඩුයි නම් එයාලා accept කරන්නේ නැහැ. Okay, if I summarize ROI, divisional managers only accept any investment its ROI is greater than current ROI. New investment ROI should be greater than divisional ROI to accept the investment. Otherwise, managers won't accept the new investment if it is lower than divisional ROI. Then if this is the scenario, they will accept the investment. Okay. That is ROI. Next topic, write it down. Residual income. Residual income. Residual income. To eliminate the weaknesses in ROI, residual income introduced. Okay. In the residual income, we'll take the net profit. We are not going to calculate any percentage. What we are going to do, we will calculate the residual interest after allocating cost of capital charge. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් කලින් උදාහරණය අපි කලින් කිව්වා වාගේ divisional ROI බලනවා. divisional ROI එකට වඩා වැඩි වුණොත් විතරයි investment එක undertake කරන්න, නැත්නම් අතාරලා දානවා. But if you look at about the overall cost of capital of the company, it might be lower than the project ROI, new investment ROI. Under that situation, you are trying to maximize the shareholders' wealth. But there are some restrictions since we are using profitability as the measurement here. Okay, residual income. Okay, how to calculate residual income? This is not calculate the percentage. We'll take the net profit. Net profit. Then we will deduct cost of capital charge. Then you will take the residual income. Residual income. How to calculate cost of capital charge? Equal capital employed okay, sometimes net capital employed at the beginning, capital employed into weighted average cost of capital of the company. Weighted average cost of capital. That is called WACC. Weighted average cost of capital. Okay, weighted average cost of capital. Okay, we'll see. There is an example. A division which with capital employed of 400 million currently earns an ROI of 22%. It can make an additional investment of 50 million for a 5-year life with nil residual value. The average net profit from the investment would be 12 million after depreciation. The division cost of capital is 14%. Calculate the residual income before and after the investment. Okay, we'll calculate our residual income before and after investment. Before new investment, before new investment, before new investment. Now net profit, you have to find it out. The division with capital employed of 400 million currently earns 22% ROI. ROI 22%. Therefore, net profit. Net profit. If you invest 400 million, 22% is the ROI. That means 88 million. 88 million is the net profit. Less cost of capital charge. Cost of capital charge. It says capital employed 400 million. Okay, 400 million. 400 million. That is the capital employed at the beginning. Cost of divisions, cost of capital is 14%. Cost of capital 14%. 400 into 14%, 56 million. $32 million is the residual income. Residual income 32 million. Residual income 32 million. Clear? ඒ කියන්නේ cost of capital මේකට equity දාපු අයටත් interest එකක් හරි dividend එකක් හරි allocate කරාට පස්සෙත් අපිට ඉතුරුනා 32 million excess එකක්. Okay, after make the new investment of 50 million. Okay. Average net profit from the investment is 12 million. Okay. Currently net profit, current net profit. Current net profit 88 million plus profit from new investment new investment 12 million, total profit 100 million, total net profit, total net profit 100 million. Okay, cost of capital charge 14%. Will deduct cost of capital charge. Cost of capital charge. Cost of capital charge. කොහොමද ගන්නෙ? Initial there was a, after this is after investment. Okay, after new investment. Before new investment, capital employed 400 million. After another 50 million, you are investing all together into 14%. How much? 63 million. 63 million. Residual income 37 million. Residual income 37 million. What has happened? Residual income increased from 32 million to 37 million. Is it worthwhile to undertake? Yes. Because residual income increased from 32 to 37. It is more beneficial to undertake this investment. Okay, write it down. It is worthwhile to undertake. It is worthwhile to undertake. It is worthwhile to undertake this new investment. This new investment. It is worthwhile to undertake this new investment since residual income increased from 32 million to 37 million. 32 million to 37 million. 32 million to 37 million. Okay. Okay. Now we will look at which method is superior, ROI or residual income. Okay. Now there is an example in page number 19. Look at it. Okay, we'll do like this. We'll separately work it out. Suppose the department H has the following profit. Asset employed and imputed interest charge is 12% on operating assets. Operating profit 30 million, operating asset 100 million. Imputed is 12. Return on investment 30% is there. Okay, residual income. Okay. Okay, first I will take ROI. ROI. At present, operating profit $30 million. Operating assets, that will take capital employed, operating assets 100 million. Therefore 30 divided by 100 into 100 mean 30%. ROI 30%. This is present scenario. Okay. Here it says, suppose now that an additional investment of 10 million is proposed, which will increase operating income of department H by 1.4 million. The effect of the investment would be, okay, now they are going to new investment. New investment. $10 million. Operating profit. Profit from new investment. $1.4 million. ROI of new investment. ROI of new investment how much? 1.4 divided by 10 into 100% කියලා කියන්නේ 14%. Based on ROI, what are you going to do? ඔයා මොකක් කරයිද? You will reject because my current ROI is 30%. This investment only gives 14%. If I accept this investment, my overall divisional ROI will fall. That means 30 plus 1.4, 31.4 divided by 100 plus 10, 110. I will take divisional ROI. Divisional ROI if new investment being undertaken. New investment being undertaken. 30 plus 1.4, 31.4 million divided by 110. $31.4 divided by 110. 28.5. Therefore, if you make the decision based on ROI, you will not accept this new investment. Okay, if you look at residual income approach, residual income approach. Operating profit 30. 30 million minus cost of capital charge 100 million into 12%, 12 million. Current ROI is 18 million. RI, current residual income 18 million. If you undertake new investment, after new investment, after new investment, operating profit how much? 30 plus 1.4 million, 31.4 million. Deduct cost of capital charge. Initial investment 100, additional investment 10 million into 12%. 13.2 million. Your residual income income 18.2 million. 18.2 million. What has happened? Your residual income has improved from 18 to 18.2 million. මොකද company cost of capital එක 12% මෙයාගේ ROI 30 වුණාට overall company වලනකොට වාගේ profitability එක 0.2 million වලින් improve වෙනවා. Clear? Therefore it is worthwhile to undertake this investment. Therefore some investment might reject based on ROI, but you have to calculate residual income. Residual income might be superior than ROI when making this kind of investment decision. Okay, clear? Okay, that is the end of residual income. Okay, we'll take a break and we'll start from the next one. Anyway, we need to finish it today. Start with economic value added. Economic value added. Okay. Now this is the advanced version of residual income. That means previously when we are going to calculate residual income, we have to take the net profit. There are a lot of accounting estimates. Therefore net profit might be some concept, some due to the estimation, lot of estimation included in the accounting profit. It will not give a clear performance evaluation. Okay, some unallocated, some uncontrollable cost might be included in the profit. Okay, therefore this economic value added, we will make several adjustments to the accounting profit to get the economic value addition. As an example, there are some expenses we have directly charged to profit or loss. Assume advertising expense. Advertising expense එකක් තියෙන අපි ඒක directly දාලා තියෙනවා P&L එකට. හැබැයි මේකේ results එන්න පුළුවන්, ඒක advertising expense එකේ results එන්න පුළුවන් more than 1 years period. අවුරුද්දකට වඩා වැඩි කාලයක් තුල අපිට results හම්බ වෙනවා. එතකොට ඒ expense එක එක අවුරුද්දකම full write off කරන එක සාධාරණ නැහැ. Because the effect on the result will received over the period. Then those expenses need to be deferred. It is like an investment. Clear? Therefore, there are some adjustment. Accounting depreciation is not suitable. We have to calculate the economic depreciation. Therefore, we have to make some adjustment to accounting profit. We have to calculate net operating profit after tax. Okay, net operating profit after tax. We have to do some adjustment to our profitability. Okay, look at here. Economic value added is a registered trademark owned by Stern Stewart and Company. It is a specific type of residual income calculated as follows. Net operating profit after tax less capital charge. Same as earlier. Previously what we have taken when we are going to calculate residual income, we have taken net profit minus cost of capital charge. This is called RI, residual income. Okay, this is called residual income. Next one, if we use the economic value addition, what we are going to do, net operating profit after tax, no PAT. We will make adjustment to this one, no PAT minus cost of capital charge. We'll deduct it, then we will take economic value added, EVA, economic value added. Okay. Therefore, there's another version of residual income computation. We will make the adjustment to net profit to get the net operating profit after tax. Okay, there are some classic explanation. Okay, there are also difference in the way of NOPAT is calculated compared with the profit figure that used in ROI. These are the changes. One, cost which would normally be treated as expenses but which are considered within EVA calculation as investment building for the future are added back to the NOPAT to derive the figure for economic profit. These costs are included instead as asset in the figure for net asset employed, that is as investment for the future. The උදාහරණයක් විදියට අපි මිලියන 10ක් ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් ගෙවනවා. ඒකේ බෙනිෆිට් හම්බ වෙනවා අවුරුදු 2ක්. හරිද? ඒතකොට මිලියන 10ම එක්ස්පෙන්ස් කරලා තියෙන එක අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? හරි විදිහට නම් වෙන්න ඕනේ මිලියන 5යි එක්ස්පෙන්ස් වෙන්න ඕනේ. මිලියන 10 අපි ආපහු එකතු කරලා මිලියන 5ක් අඩු කරනවා. That is economic cost of the advertising expense. ඉතුරු මිලියන 5 it will added to net asset employed. මොකද ඒක ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එකක් නිසා. මිලියන 10ක ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එකක් කරන ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් වලට හැබැයි ඒක කරන්නේ අවුරුදු දෙකටම බෙනිෆිට් හම්බ වෙනවා. මිලියන 5ක් එක්ස්පෙන්ස් කරනවා, මිලියන 5ක් net asset වලට එකතු කරනවා. Okay. Like goodwill, research and development expenditure, advertising costs, those need to be amortized over the useful period, economic period. Adjustments are sometimes made to the depreciation charge whereby accounting depreciation is added back to the profit figure and economic depreciation is subtracted to the arrive at no profit. Accounting depreciation is an estimate. You will deduct accounting profit, but here accounting depreciation will be added back, economic depreciation will be deducted. Final, any lease charges are excluded from NOPAT and added in as a part of capital employed. ඒ කියන්නේ lease expense එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒක අපි profit එකෙන් අඩු කරලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒකට එකතු කරලා මොකද කරන්නේ අපි ඒක අඩු කරනවා මොකෙන්ද ඒක අපි එකතු කරනවා capital employed වලට.